quite some time, there have been murmurs about Israel normalising relations with arguably the most important Arab state, Saudi Arabia. You'll remember the Israelis reached deals with several Arab nations in the Trump-brokered Abraham Accords back in 2020. But a Saudi deal would be a massive game changer and the region's biggest diplomatic agreement in a generation. Well, now the US and Riyadh have agreed on the broad contours of a prospective deal, or at least that is according to reporting in the Wall Street Journal. Well, in response to a question about that report, the State Department spokesperson told CNN that while discussions have been productive, they are not quite there, not yet.
I will say that we've had productive conversations. There's a number of issues that we have discussed, both with the Israeli government and with the Saudi government. Those conversations continue. I expect there will be more happening in coming weeks. We've made progress on a number of issues. I'm not going to get into what the progress is, but it is still a long road to go with an uncertain future. But it is an important initiative that we think we should continue to pursue.
Well, a similar sentiment was echoed by Israel's national security advisor, who told CNN that the US is keeping Israel very intimately updated on the discussions with Riyadh, but that not much is happening and a deal likely won't materialise, he says, before the end of the year. Well, there's no better person to break all of this down with than our very own international diplomatic editor, Nick Robertson, who joins me now in the studio. So we know in this sort of triangulation that's going on that each side actually, you know, our sources tell us, certainly the US and Israel are very keen on normalisation. We know that. And certainly behind the scenes we hear there's certainly an appeal to the Saudis, but there are red lines, and it's a question of how one negotiates around this. So I guess the first question is, how close are they to normalising at this point?
From a Saudi-US perspective, there are some things that seem to have those broad contours of that they're moving along on, and that is that the United States could help Saudi Arabia develop a domestic energy nuclear power system for the country. That seems to be, from what we hear, going along. The Saudis want F-35 fighter jets from the United States. Well, so does pretty much every other country and ally in the world. But that's also something that seems to have a level of traction. And certainly the Saudis have bought a huge amount of armaments from the United States in the past. Interestingly, one of the other part that is sort of out there circulating around that we hear about is Saudi wanting sort of, in a way, the old paradigm, the old security for energy paradigm. But I think their own paradigm has also moved. So that's that context. There's a part that they want from the Israelis, and that, from my Saudi sources, they say they're not sure that the Israelis can deliver on, which will be certain guarantees for the Palestinians.